What's up, Average Dad fans? Welcome back to another video. And as you can tell from the thumbnail, I want to give the OnePlus 12 a second crack. For the life of me, I can't understand why this phone is not more popular with you and with me. Let's go. Now, as we already know, 2024 has just been incredible for phones, both foldables and candy bar style. So it's understandable to some degree that this phone has got lost in the furor of just amazingness, from Samsung S24 Ultra to the Oppo X7 Ultra to the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Heck, even the Nubia Z60 Ultra has blown me away this year. And in the foldable front, Vivo X Fold 3 and X Fold 3 Pro has come along and just stepped all over every other foldable phone. But in that time, a couple of months ago, I reviewed the OnePlus 12, also gave my first impressions, and I didn't really have any faults. So why have I never spoke about it again? I looked back at a couple of videos and literally every candy bar phone I mentioned, from Samsung to Oppo and Xiaomi and Nubia, this doesn't get a look in. So I just wanted to remind you of the specs of this device and tell you that I have put my SIM card back in it, because this phone is a flagship device at a non-flagship price and it deserves a second chance. And I don't give many phones a second chance too often. So specs wise, it's just an A+ all over the place. From the build quality, IP68 water and dust resistance, to the display, 6.8-inch Pro XDR 120Hz display with Aqua Touch that we'll talk about soon, and the highest PWM dimming on any phone. Yes, pulse width modulation dimming. Some people, believe it or not, get some headaches in low light with the phone pulsating. You can kind of see that screen flicker. It doesn't affect everyone, but with this phone, even at the lowest brightness setting, you're not going to have any issues. And if you want to go to high brightness, 4,500 nits peak brightness with 1,600 nits outside in sunlight. Now, continuing on with the mammoth specs, this was one of the first phones. In fact, it might have been the first global release phone outside of a gaming phone to have a 5,400 mAh battery. It was also one of the first phones to get the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip. And the battery stats for this phone can go on and on for days. 100 watts wired charging here in the UK and Europe. I know it's only 80 watts in the US. Don't know why, but that's how it is. 50 watts wireless charging. Now, you're going to have to buy the proprietary 50 watt wireless charger from OnePlus, which I did. So this mammoth 5,400 mAh battery paired with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip gives you a 1.5 to 2 days medium to heavy usage. You will not kill this phone in a day. In fact, here's a challenge. Try and kill this phone in a day. Do whatever you like. Game, 8K video record, do whatever you want. I think you will absolutely struggle to kill this in a single day's use. And if we continue on with the mammoth specs, it's USB-C 3.2 Generation 1. So the fastest data transfer speeds you can get on a device with display out. It's UFS 4.0 storage, DDR5X RAM, and with this variant, and we're going to talk about price very soon, this is a 16 gigabytes of DDR5X RAM with 512 gigabytes of storage. To put it into context, the Samsung S24 Ultra doesn't offer you 16 gigabytes of RAM, and when you go up to half a terabyte of storage, you're going to be paying roughly £1,350. And spoiler, this phone is much cheaper than that. Now, I mentioned internally it's a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip. It's Android 14 with the Oxygen OS skin. I like Oxygen OS, but because I have so much experience using other skins, it's not going to reach my top 5. I'll save the top 5 for skins such as One UI, Origin OS, Hyper OS, and actually its sister company Oppo's Color OS. However, Oxygen OS gives you all the customization you could possibly want. It also has some pretty cool features, including, and this is rare on smartphones, with the refresh rate, you can not only set it to 120Hz locked or dynamic smart refresh rate, you can actually do it app by app. And I've checked in a lot of phones and that option has not been available. So if you want to have your maps or whatever app you want set to 120Hz, you can customize that and do it yourself within the settings. Now, connectivity-wise, it's Bluetooth 5.3, it's a 5G device, it's Wi-Fi 6E, it's got all the connectivity that you could want and wish for. And here in the UK, obviously I feel like I should say this for my channel, it's a global ROM device from OnePlus UK, so you don't have to do any workarounds for smartwatch connectivity or Google Apps. It's global, so everything just works. Android Auto is wired or wireless. It's seamless. But now let's talk about why I believe the OnePlus 12 and OnePlus in general just can't sell in the UK, Europe, or US. And the biggest reason that I can think of right now is mobile phone or cell phone carriers, as you would say in the States. Companies like AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, and then here in the UK, Vodafone and O2 being the two biggest, do not stock OnePlus phones. If you want to get a contracted OnePlus phone, you're going to have to go to some random online provider, buy the phone separately, and then get a SIM-only deal. You cannot get this on a pay monthly contract with most carriers globally. And that ultimately has to be the biggest hindrance, because unless you're a tech reviewer like myself that just buys all these phones outright and then goes ahead and sells them a week or a month later, most people buy their phones on a contract basis and they'll upgrade them every 2 or 3 years. So if OnePlus aren't able to do that in the UK, European or US markets, nobody's going to want to fork out the upfront costs for this device. And we may as well talk about the upfront cost now. This 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of storage version cost me £999. However, with a voucher, I was able to get it for £949 and there was a free case included. For this phone, with all the specs I've just mentioned, everything about it is flagship, including the cameras. This is a triple camera setup with 50 megapixel lenses throughout, a 6 times lossless zoom that produces really quite stunning pictures, even up to 10 or 20 times zoom. It's 8K recording on the rear, it's 4K on the selfie and all the rear cameras. It's an absolute beast. And for the 0.5 terabyte version, as mentioned, it's £450 cheaper than the equivalent Samsung or Apple device. But when you can't spread that £900 payment over your SIM contract, it makes a difference. So the best way for you to do it is to buy this on a 0% credit card and then go and get a £10 a month SIM-only deal and pop it inside the phone. But people don't want to do that. People want convenience. People also like what they like. How many phones do you think globally OnePlus have sold? How many? Bearing in mind that in 2023, iPhone sold 281 million units. Just on the iPhone, just in 2023. Well, OnePlus as a whole company, including all their OnePlus variant phones, the Open, the 10, the 11, the 12, everything to date is under 20 million units. Yes, OnePlus as a whole, according to Google, have sold less than 20 million units. So without the brand recognition and the support from mobile phone carriers, OnePlus are struggling. And I guess it's a testament to them that they keep plodding on. The OnePlus Open was the best foldable of 2023. This should be one of the best candy bar phones of 2024, but it's not because of the specs. I think it's just because of the brand recognition that people forget about it. People don't go and search new OnePlus phones online. They're looking for the latest Samsung or iPhone. So I am going to stay loyal to OnePlus for the next few weeks. I'm going to keep my SIM card in this, caveat being that I will be intermittently putting my SIM card in other such devices, but this will be my daily driver, as you like to say. And I'm going to give you my thoughts and feedback at the end of 3 or 4 weeks. And at that point, I'll decide if I'm going to sell the device or keep this as my main Android candy bar phone. You can probably guess what I'll do with it, because I am prone to selling devices, but we'll see. We don't know yet. So if you've got any questions about the OnePlus 12, leave them in the comments below. But if your question is, would I recommend the OnePlus 12? Absolutely, categorically, yes. Through my experience so far owning it in the first place and now using it as part of the Take 2 video, there's nothing wrong with this device. And I want to finish on this. Another feature about this phone that is better than anything. The AquaTouch display, running it underwater, you can still type normally. There's no mistypes. Do me a favour. Go and run your S24 Ultra or your iPhone under a tap and then try and type a phone number. Your phone will spaz out. It just won't work. So the display on this was already class leading, but with the AquaTouch display, I would argue this puts it as a #1 display. The only competition for me is on the S24 Ultra, where they've not gone for AquaTouch, they've gone for anti-reflective coating. So it depends which feature you prefer best. I really like this AquaTouch. And another feature that OnePlus have absolutely nailed in the OnePlus 12, haptics. The touch typing you get, the vibration through calls and notifications, the system navigation vibrations, it is just uncanny. It's almost like 3D spatial vibrations. Every single tap, every touch, if you've got haptics on, is the best. And that's the type of thing that you would only experience by actually using the phone. And again, to bring it full circle, if you can't go into a Vodafone store and use the device, nobody's going to buy it. Anyway, hopefully you've liked this little update on the OnePlus 12. I'll be doing more content on it, as I already mentioned. So if that sounds interesting, smash subscribe. And if you've got to this point in the video, you could be in with a chance of winning £50, a Cosbet Tank Ultra M3, or OnePlus Buds Pro 2 in the Average Dad monthly giveaway. Buy me a coffee, link in description. There's now, I think, 11 members, so you have a 1 in 11 chance of winning one of those prizes. And then for the YouTube members, there are more of you there, so you've got less chance of winning, but you are entered into the draws. So you've got 2 chances of winning, but more chance of winning through Buy Me a Coffee. Thanks very much for the support. Enjoy your weekend, although I'll see you over the weekend with, hopefully, a nice, shiny new foldable device, if UPS can pull their finger out. Until then,